Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Going for Three podcast, episode 2. I am your host, Tony Farr, aka G, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Percy Thomas, aka PTP. Unfortunately, our third host, Chris Hot Takes Collins, is not with us this week as he's traveling, but he'll be back next week. So it's just the two of us. Hope you enjoy, and let's get right into it. First things first. Since
Going
we
over the
haven't
World Series.
since we haven't discussed baseball at all, let's discuss the World Series. Game 1 tonight, Houston Astros, Atlanta Braves. The Braves, sort of a Cinderella story. Nobody expected this. They were a 500 team in August, and they ended up winning 88 games, getting in as a wild card. They beat the Brewers in 4 games, then beat the 105 win, $230 plus million payroll LA Dodgers in the NLCS, 4-2. Surprise, surprise. Astros had a fairly easy road. They beat the White Sox in 4 games, beat the Red Sox, surprisingly. The Red Sox were in the ALCS. They beat the Red Sox in 6 games. The Braves have a momentum, I'd say, advantage. As I said, kind of a Cinderella story. They probably have the better pitching in this matchup. The Astros have a really wicked lineup, excellent hitting. Jordan Alvarez, hottest hitter on the planet. I know game 1's going on right now. I haven't checked the score, so nobody come at me. But I'm gonna give the advantage to the Astros. They're experienced. They've been here before. They have the better hitting. I know the Braves are hot, and probably more people want them to win. Given the Astros aren't well liked outside of Houston, the whole cheating scandal, whatever it is. But I'm going to say the Astros win this World Series. Again, no offense to our boy Phoenix and all my people in the ATL, but Houston's just a better team. Houston wins the World Series in 6 games. Now on to other matters. Unless you
As you just gonna jump right into it, the NBA's first week did conclude. I forgot how many games there were yesterday combined with today, but a lot of interesting things happened in the first week for the NBA.
True.
In my opinion.
True. Couple of teams that we were assuming were going to run wild or be playoff teams have been off to a slow start. The Lakers, for one. LeBron's hurt, out tonight.
Ankle injury.
They're not playing well. Not playing very well defensively. Their shooting is abysmal, and they're 1-2, and now no LeBron. As far as actual contenders or even playoff teams, I know we discussed last week. We discussed Indiana. They're 1-3, off to a slow start, but they've been in every game pretty much. So not
a lot
too
of hope with Indiana right now, as far as with Duarte and
that is true.
Miles Turner. So they should be fine down the stretch.
Miles Turner's played well. Obviously Sabonis is a beast. They'll be all right. Yeah. They've had a I would say a difficult schedule to begin. So, the 1-3 start isn't cause for too much alarm.
The more surprising things is the first and second seeds right now for the Eastern Conference, just to kind of break them down a little bit more. The Bulls and the Charlotte Hornets, the Bulls are kind of expected to be top 5, obviously, because of DeMar DeRozan, and you add Alonzo. A lot of nice people to know their role. But Charlotte with Bridges and a healthy LaMelo with Gordon seems to be one of the sleeper teams that have risen to the occasion so far early in the season.
And honestly, Hayward hasn't played that well, but they are playing very, very well. They get after it. They're quick. They're shooting well. Obviously, my Celtics gave them their first loss in a hell of a game.
Really good game.
Yeah, really good game. Obviously it took, Tatum and Brown going stupid for 71 total uh, to win, but they did.
Yeah.
I did see a tweet. Uh, I think it was Jamal Crawford tweeted. LeVar was right because those Ball brothers
Yeah. On top right
look,
now to start the year off. So
looking pretty good. And unexpectedly, as you know, going to the Western Conference, only undefeated teams, the Warriors. Kind of surprised a little bit,
yeah. To
but
me, I'm not really surprised because Curry is Curry, but Jordan Poole, a lot of those guys worked a lot. Well, Jordan Poole mainly, he worked so hard in the offseason. It's showing. Damian Lee, or I think it's Damian
yeah,
Lee. I'm not sure.
yeah.
He played.
Damien.
He made a clutch three, I believe, in one of the games that they won. Um,
Draymond's playing his role well. He's scoring a little bit more than he was last year. I mean, obviously not a lot, but he's playing. He's fulfilling his role. Wiggins is getting his legs back. He's playing solid. I mean, they're locked in. They're playing good team basketball. You
the
know,
reintroduction of Iguodala.
yeah, they're playing better defense, and yeah, I mean, we'll see. The Western
Uh,
Conference is it's a log jam. I mean, really, honestly, as far as the West goes, the only real surprise to me is, well, there's a few. I mean, obviously, the Lakers slow start, lack of shooting.
I'd say there's two for me at least.
The Lakers are one, and I'd say three because I didn't think the Pelicans would start this bad. They look lifeless, and quite frankly, so
Mhm.
does Portland. Portland,
Yeah, did you
man,
see Damien's shooting stats going off the first week?
I abysmal.
Yeah, he was
He's
he's 2 for 23 from three right now, I think, or two for
yeah,
24 from
yeah.
three.
He's bad start.
Not normal for him at all.
No, I mean, I kind of wonder if it has if all of the off season talk and him
The
having to
rumors.
constantly come out and say that he's not going anywhere, and there could, even if times get rough, foreshadowing apparently because he said that before the season. Even
Yeah,
if times get rough, well, it's rough, and
very
they do
rough for
not
him.
look good. They do not look good at all. Honestly,
Yeah.
they do not. And I think we all more or less had them as at least a playing team. And
Yeah, I mean, where they are right now is where I kind of see them finishing. Actually, I don't know if I might have had them finish in 10. It's just if they manage to pull it together. But where they are right now is kind of where I would assume most people have them finishing. But a lot of the top teams in the West seem like the Suns are 1 and 2, the Clippers are 1 and 2, Lakers being 1 and 2. Then we look at the top six. Dallas is kind of barely in there, only because they only play 2 games. But Minnesota and the Grizzlies right now are at the 3 and 5, which is surprising to me from a Grizzlies perspective. I felt the Timberwolves were going to be high 6, 7 ish ranking, but the Grizzlies are playing really good basketball right now.
I had both of them. I think in the 7-8 to play in range, but um, yeah, Minnesota's playing really good basketball, and to be honest, that's with a slow start from D'Lo. So
Yeah,
I am pleasantly surprised with their play so far. Honestly,
Towns is
pleasantly surprised.
taking more of a leadership role, playing a little bit more serious. Anthony Edwards is kind of taking that LaMelo
He,
approach.
that
Also, he's doubling on
yeah,
his points.
that boy's legit. I mean,
And
that boy's legit.
I think Beasley's also kind of off to a slow start too. But if they can get all four of those guys like rolling, the Timberwolves like they could really be a problem for a few of these teams.
I mean, yeah, you see it. I mean, then you look down, you see Phoenix 1-2, you see the Clippers 1-2. I mean, yeah, okay, no cause for alarm. The Clippers, I think we kind of agreed that, like, I mean, Paul George is going to have a MVP type of year to sort of keep them afloat, and
Yeah. So far,
And
he's not off to a bad start with I think he had like 45 or one of the games, 40, 45.
right, but he's doing his thing. The rest of the team hasn't quite
Yeah. Up.
caught up. They're not quite up to the level so far. But again, it's early. It's a bit of a
Yeah.
surprise, but it's early. I fully expect, you know, them to get it together, at least as far
Yeah.
as, playoff form. Phoenix will be fine. Uh,
Dallas is the team I'm worried about, low key. Not really because of like the team as a whole, but I think Luka's off to a pretty slow start. If I'm thinking correctly, I think he's off to a slow start.
I mean, for Luka, yes.
Yeah.
For Luka, yes. But I mean, the core of the roster, which because they didn't make a ton of moves in the offseason, and that was a question mark. What's surrounding Luka? So far? What's surrounded Luka, at least in the first 2 games, has looked surprisingly okay. When most people thought it would be a big question, they've looked surprisingly okay. So, if the cast around him plays up to par, they're fine. They'll be
It
and
might
Luka
have been the
will.
first game slump.
Uh-huh.
This game of the first game, kind of like Trae Young, but more or less for me, Kristaps more or less is playing a lot better, which allows me to kind of rest on the head of Rick Carlisle might have been the issue because he really didn't want to use him.
I very well. It seems that way to this point. Yes.
So to have him back to not full blown Knicks form, but to at least where he's getting, he gets double digit points, he's getting his rebounds, he's making a little bit more defense, he moves, he's feeling a lot better.
I mean, yeah, Kristaps at even 80% Porzingis, 80% of the early New York Porzingis on this team, they'll happily take it, and they'll be fine. They'll be totally fine.
Yeah.
I am surprised. I'm surprised with. I mean, as far as the East goes, I am surprised the Bulls are 4-0. I'm not saying they're obviously. I expect them to be a playoff team.
Their first half of the schedule has been pretty. People have been saying it's pretty sweet, and to an extent, I kind of agree. I mean, the Pistons also almost did beat them. Not even trying to like select them out because we are 0-3, but
no, I know you're not, and I know you're not gassing your team up, but they can't take away the 4-0 start. But
their defense is looking great.
Charlotte looks good. Milwaukee's Milwaukee. Yeah, they had a stinker. Everybody does. So I mean, that's not really a surprise. Honestly, I'd say probably the surprise for me, besides, I mean, Indiana, like I said, they haven't played the dregs of the league, so their 1-3 start isn't a big deal. But the surprise for me is, I'd say number one, Brooklyn doesn't look that great.
Yeah.
I think their rotations look bad. Their defensive adjustments are terrible.
Because Katie's shooting numbers do look a little off. I haven't really been seeing that many Harden highlights except for like his
Harden
step backs. He's not really doing much. It seems
Harden is clearly off his rhythm. I'm not putting it all on the new rule, because that was kind of his thing.
The foul rule, because people said like he's shooting his lowest amount of free throws ever, which
it is partially that rule. It's thrown him off a little bit, but he hasn't found his rhythm. That's a bit of a surprise. And to be honest with you, I know you've talked about Rui, but I just looked at the Wizards roster and I just thought that team is god awful. Surprisingly decent play so far.
They're sixth right now, and obviously I'm not really the biggest fan of what Kuzma's giving, because Kuzma's like very much a fluctuating volume shooter. He gets rebounds for sure, but his shooting numbers are very much up and down. Trez as their sixth man is working out better than I expected,
and Dinwiddie.
Dinwiddie's the shocker of this whole thing, because Dinwiddie wanted to be there, and then now he's starting to catch his groove, get more accustomed to that running the offense with everybody.
And he even said too, like he talked the team up like they could actually be something, and he's playing like he believes it.
Yeah, and it's good for Beal because now Dinwiddie's he's like a taller, better shooting version of what John Wall gave him, and then he's giving them a boost on top of the fact of like he sees a lot of talent on this team. And you know what I mean, you look at it. I mean, Bertans, Hachimura when he gets back. I'm not sure if he's played yet.
I
Perez,
don't believe so.
Kuzma,
And and
but
and Dinwiddie will play defense. So I
yeah,
mean,
he's very in tune.
well, yeah, it absolutely will be good for Beal if they, you know, exceed expectations, make the playoffs. I mean,
I might make him stay.
very well could. I mean,
Uh, Cavs too. Now that I think about it, the Cavs are. When I saw their first starting lineup for the week, like I forgot. I think it was like Sexton. It was like Sexton, Okoro, Markkanen, Mobley, and Allen. And I was like, why is Markkanen at the 3? And surprisingly, they split their game so far.
yeah.
So Markkanen looks very comfortable playing in Cleveland. I guess the small forward role is like kind of rejuvenating him. They're putting the ball in his hands a lot more. He's really been in his hands a lot since like his Arizona days. I feel the Bulls really never really gave the offense to him. They were always trying to find something, kind of take it out of his hands. But in Cleveland, it seems like they want to really get their guys up and running. And then Evan Mobley, of course.
I mean, yeah, last night, I mean, like Osmond's played well, Kevin Love played
Yeah,
well last night. I think it seems like I don't know about the team itself, but it
yeah.
seems like with Markkanen, like he's free to sort of play his way. It fits him better, and I honestly think that probably him signing with Kim being in Cleveland now, the him being drafted with the Bulls by the Bulls and what they expected, I think it the lower expectations is actually helping a lot of these guys just go out there and play. And
Yeah.
it's showing on the court, and they're a surprisingly, I mean, I obviously haven't done like a real deep dive into the roster, but they're a surprisingly versatile roster. So I
They, they,
actually
have, they have a lot of players that can play a lot of different positions. I feel
that is
for
true.
especially for
That is
big.
true.
'Cause
That is true.
Mobley can be like power forward, center. Markin apparently can play the 3. It's Jared Allen probably like the only one that's probably gonna stay where he's at. I mean, Sexton kind of played a little bit of 2 guard last year, I believe, with Garland and stuff. So
Yes. Yeah.
a lot of movable pieces that they can work with.
I mean, do I at the end of the day do I think they're a playoff team or anything like that? No. But I'm
Usually fizzle out.
I'm a
So
little I'm a little impressed. I'm a little impressed so far. Look, I see them. They're not going to be bad. I expected Orlando to be play a little better than they have, to be honest. I'm not surprised them being 1-3. Okay, um, I figured probably be. I think I picked them as a play in. So
yeah,
being like 39-43 or something like that, maybe 40 and 42, somewhere in that range, something like that, and like a playoff team, I could totally see it. They just don't look good.
the only thing I've heard about Orlando is Cole Anthony, and Cole Anthony is actually I kind of want him to play. Like even when he got drafted there, I feel like he can be the point guard that they need. But there's just like so many pieces there now. Like Suggs is there, Fultz. They traded for Hampton. It's a real cluster as far as where these guards really. That's why their points and stuff probably fluctuate because one night it might be Cole starting. Next night it's probably Suggs at the 1. Then it's Hampton coming in playing 1 and 2 minutes, and Fultz isn't. I don't think Fultz is back yet. So you got 4 mouths to feed.
Right. I mean, Suggs look solid. There's at least that silver lining. Suggs look solid.
Yeah, the talent is there for Suggs for sure.
Absolutely.
Even Wendell Carter, I feel like Wendell got there too. He kind of got rejuvenated a little bit. I think they still have Mobamba, I think. So that big scenario that they got is looking pretty promising.
So I mean, looking at it, week one, some odd things have happened. Okay, that's sports for you.
Mm.
Some
Heat
surprising things.
too.
I don't know about the Heat.
Ellie Hero looks like a baller. Again, I'd say.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I kind of see
Mm.
them. Trying to think of a comparison here. Uh, I don't know. I kind of I'm not sure what to liken them to. I kind of see them like a. Let's try to compare. Like I see them as like a to make like a college football reference. I see them like as a like Oklahoma. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like they look good, and then I think when it really counts in the playoffs, they're not going to match up well enough. They're not going to get enough scoring to win. That's what I'm saying. Could be wrong.
Yeah.
Feel free to refute me, but
I would have thought like a kind of like how the Raptors were like ironically because they have Lowry now. How the Raptors were with Lowry and DeRozan, like they were always solid during the season, and then when the playoffs roll around, some years make a deep run, make it to the conference final, and then there's other years where you just get slapped by LeBron. They have to go through if them and Giannis are like going to be intertwined for the remainder of like these next few years. It'll be the same president, so playing good now. So down the line, it could be even a different seating. It could be like a roles flip thing where like Miami's in the driver's seat, Milwaukee's kind of repeat, but they're on the bottom. It could change between now and then. So
I mean, that's possible, but Milwaukee's just too good. They're just too good. I
mm,
don't know. I mean, where Miami could fit into all this, where they seed is, I think we discussed this. It could be. I don't remember exactly where I put them, but I think I had them like 4 or 5.
yeah,
Could they get as high? Could they be like 3? Or like I said,
mm,
is it the way Brooklyn is in injury, or like the role players just don't step up? Could they even be like a 2, and maybe Brooklyn falls to a 3? I possibly,
yeah,
possibly too early to tell, but it's been an intriguing first week for sure.
yeah. A lot of things you wouldn't really expect as far as like players. A lot of players you wouldn't expect to go crazy. A lot of teams wouldn't expect to be where they are record wise, but it's like one weekend. A lot of things could change. Injuries playing a factor too. Some people just are out right now. Maybe COVID. Things can shake up.
All right, so let's try something different that we didn't try last week. NFL week
Football.
NFL week 8. Let's go over all the matchups. We can discuss if we like, or just pick our winners. Go from
Mm,
there. Uh, Thursday night, Packers at Cardinals. 6-1
hmm.
versus 6-1 versus 7-0. Unfortunately for the Packers, Devontae Adams and now Alan Lazard, both in COVID.
Oh.
Lazard is, I believe, close contact. So
Mm,
I don't know result testing, so I don't know if he's tested positive, but
mm,
likely out. Devontae Adams is positive, so we'll be missing this game. Lazard probably will miss this game, and then some. So, in the Cardinals look a bit like a juggernaut at the moment at home. Can the
get
Packers
Jones.
move?
I think they get Jones back this week as well.
Yeah, they do. The thing is, can the Packers? Because I don't think the Packers are going to stop Arizona from scoring points. There are just too many weapons. But
Yeah.
if it's a shootout, can Aaron Rodgers and that offense keep up without Devontae and Lazard? Can a Valdez Scantling and can Randall Cobb DH by 3 or 4 years for a game.
Even a
Uh,
Tanyan, can he take the bigger
Tanyan,
role?
can Tanyan do his thing? Will they, you know, try to run the ball a lot with Jones and Dillon, or will you know they you be used more as will they use them both?
Yeah.
Will because Dillon's seen a lot of receiving work to this point. Will they use him more of his receiving, or will they both just catch the ball, or will they just not be able to score? I
Mm.
mean, given
With
that,
Jones coming back, that pass rush has been looking. It's been getting better and better. Back work, Buda Baker, and then
yeah,
that worked.
I
So.
mean, barring some just Rogers magic, and obviously that's not a biased take because I have him in fantasy, but um, because Adams and Lazard at least probably out, Cardinals. Cardinals win this
Mm.
game. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout, but Cardinals win this game.
Mm.
Probably. I don't know the line. I think the line is 6.5, so 7. I say Cardinals win.
I
I'll
feel
just
like they
throw.
both go over. I feel like they both go over 20
Um,
potentially.
Cardinals win 31-20.
Mm. Yeah, I say that. Yeah, something around that, like 29, 29-20, something like that.
All right. Up next, we have the 3-4 Panthers reeling after a good start, losers of 4 straight at the Falcons, now 3-3.
Picking it up.
Um, I don't know what to make of this because the Falcons, to be honest with you, aren't a very good team, but they have been playing surprisingly. Their offense is looking a lot better. Um, they're certainly more versatile on offense than they've been. They try to run the ball using Patterson as they have.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they won last week and without Calvin really doing much of anything.
Yeah,
Uh,
wasn't really used that much at all.
And the Panthers, after a 3-0 start, they have just fallen completely apart. I understand McCaffrey's on IR, but Darnold has looked bad. Now, admittedly, it's not all on him. That offensive line
Yeah.
has just gone completely down the toilet. They can't block to save their lives. Uh, I said Robbie Anderson has been a virtual non-factor in his offense. I don't know why.
Mm.
Uh, you mentioned. I know you mentioned yesterday they drafted Terrence Marshall. Has he even seen the field? Much less.
He's been in there a few times from what I've been seeing, but I don't know if it's like okay, it could be a mix of the blocking again, but it could either be just a mix of the big playability might be there sometimes, might not be. Him and Robbie are kind of similar in what they could give a team, but if no protection, you really can't go. You really can go to anybody.
Well, barring something miraculous and a quick turnaround, Falcons win this game.
Mm.
It
I'm gonna switch it
probably
up.
it probably won't be that pretty, and I don't think there's going to be a
Yeah.
lot of points. It could be like a 20-13, 17-13, something like that. I don't think there's going to be a ton of points. Carolina's defense is still solid, but I think
Yeah.
ultimately the Falcons win this game, and the
Mm.
Panthers keep ruling, and then I don't know what they do from there.
I might go. I might go Panthers in this. I
Really?
don't know why. Because I feel like teams like the Falcons, like they have been having a nice string of weeks, but what I've been seeing, Chuba hasn't really been having like stuff that jumps off the wall, but Chuba's been having some pretty solid games. And Falcons front seven, I'm not really sure like really how they've been looking the past, looking at they've won,
They're
but
not terrible. They're not terrible. It's the defense overall is certainly better than it was last year or than it's been, but still not great.
mm,
But it it's not so much Chuba as it is the offensive line is just not looked good. I know there have been
Yeah.
some injury concerns. Guys are banged up, but they have just not. That offensive line has not looked good at all. But they could very well look better against a not very stout Falcons defense. But I
Yeah.
don't. But I don't see a lot of points in this
Definitely a low
game.
teams game. So,
Probably 17-13, 20-13, something along those lines. Yeah, but I think the Falcons win.
yeah.
Okay. Next up, we have the Dolphins at the Bills. If the Bills don't destroy the Dolphins, I'd be surprised. I don't really have much else to say here, especially after coming off that loss. And a bye. I don't.
This should definitely be another week where the Dolphins get held to no points. For being honest, this should be another week that they get
I
held to
don't
no
think
points.
so. I don't think so. I don't think so. I just think the
Mm.
Bills, but the Bills coming off the bye, fully rested, heartbreaking loss. Um, yeah, I think the Bills probably it drubbed them, but I don't. I think the first game was 35-3.
They
Um,
played. Uh,
yeah, I don't think it's going to be quite like that. Uh, that bad. I think the Dolphins. I'm seeing. I'm going to say Dolphins probably get some garbage time points. I say the 38-17.
and two was back this week, right?
Well, Tua was back last week and looked okay. It's just their defense was atrocious. And
Yeah.
Tua had a nice game. He did. He threw two bad. He did throw two bad picks, admittedly, but he still had his numbers overall were good, and he still brought them back and had them winning. The defense failed them, so
Yeah.
they had the game. I just think Buffalo's just way too much for them. They'll probably score a garbage time touchdown or something like that to make it look more, but I think Buffalo steamrolls them.
Yeah, definitely a Buffalo high 30s.
Yeah.
High threats are coming off the bye week. They got time to rest and really get things figured out. Probably something to
Now
prove the next week.
it is a division game. Could the Dolphins make it respectable? Sure, possibly, sure, but
The
just
Bills
look,
are known for sometimes. Sometimes
just
their
yeah.
defense looks good. Sometimes they look really, really. They're
I
playing
just think,
down to the competition.
yeah, they do. They have, and they have. I just see coming off the bye, heartbreaking loss. I think they're going to come out angry and just that's shut them down,
Yep.
blowout. Okay, next up we got 49ers and Bears. Oof.
This is ugly for
Oof.
sure.
This is ugly. Kyle Shanahan has already said Garoppolo starting. Trey Lance will practice, so I would assume he'll be the backup. Jimmy could have a quick hook if he plays bad. Admittedly, last game he had wind, torrential downpour, but Jimmy did not look great. But then again, they're playing the Bears, and the Bears haven't looked good at all.
It feels looked bad last week.
They were. I mean, I don't remember who said it, but
Mhm.
I did see a tweet online and about him sitting on the bench and the way he looked gave off
It looked
some
distraught.
Dwayne Haskins vibes. Now I'm not saying it's going to there's there should be a comparison there at all. I'm not saying that, but the man looks beaten down and dejected, miserable. Their play calling is awful.
Mm.
They're not using him like they should. It's not like they have no weapons. I mean, even without, even with Montgomery hurt, Herbert ran for 100 yards last week against Tampa's defense, but they can't do anything throwing the ball. They're not creative.
Yeah.
They aren't using RPOs enough. They're not rolling fields out. They're not letting him run. They're not letting him make plays off the, off broken plays or letting him move outside the pocket to make plays. They're not doing any of that. Two
Mm.
terrible teams.
I
I'm
would
going.
think I would think the Niners win this week.
I You know, I'm going to pick the Bears. I mean, the Niners don't have enough weapons offensively, except Debo. The Bears are okay against the run. So, and that's like the 49ers kind of bread and butter. I think if the Bears hold up against the run and basically say Jimmy beat us, I don't think they have enough. I say this is a boring, low scoring game. Bears win.
Be interesting overall. See if Fields has a bounce back
It's
game.
it's. I mean, to be honest with you, if you have the Bears would be 4-4 if they win. Surprisingly, I don't know how that worked out, but
You beat the bad teams,
good
but
thing for
competition is
good thing for the red zoner and things of that nature, because I would, if this was on my Fox game and that's all I had to watch. Oof, I don't want that's yeah.
no football that week.
Okay, next up we have 3-3 Steelers at 4-3 Browns. I'm assuming no Baker.
No Baker.
So you got
No
Case.
Chubb.
So you got Case Keenum starting. I don't know if Chubb will play or not.
I think Hunt's still down.
I don't know. I really don't know here. Steelers offense still looks janky. Steelers DBs are still bad. Their front seven is good. But then again, Cleveland was without some of their offensive line starters. Are they still going to be out? I'm seeing another ugly, low scoring game here that's not going to be pretty.
Yeah.
But I mean, one thing that Cleveland's obviously with Chubb down and Hunt out, one thing that Cleveland still can do is run.
Yeah.
They still run block well, and they can still run the ball. And hey, look, Keenum did not look bad last week. I'm not hating on the man.
Even the fullback, Stanton.
Yeah.
They used a lot of hands last week.
I mean, if receiver wise, they're okay. Ugly low scoring game. I say Browns. Another ugly one.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like
Probably similar to last Thursday's game with Denver. Probably ugly low scoring, 13-10, 17-13, maybe. Not a lot of points. Not a lot of points.
I thought they might at least hit the 20s. Just like it'll be kind of interesting. Both teams kind of. Maybe I feel like the Browns only took the 20s. I'm not sure about the Steelers, but I feel like the Browns still do take out the dub for this week.
Yeah. All right. Next we have 2-5 Eagles at 0-7 Lions. Philly's a 3.5 point favorite. To be honest with you, no matter what happens, I'll take the Lions and the points for sure. I'm gonna. Philly is janky. They certainly. They're Philly is. They're an enigma. They seem to. I mean, like every team, they script out first 10, 12 plays or script out their first drive. And Philly usually tends to look good on their first drive. And then the Lord knows what you're going to get between that and the end of the game where they seem to be down and all of a sudden they can move the ball. So you don't know what you're going to get out of them. I think Miles Sanders is hurt, I'm assuming, Gainwell's probably going to start with some Boston Scott thrown in there, but I'm not playing up to the other person in the room here. But I think if you guys can contain Justin Fields running, Lions win the game. They get off the schneid. Lions win.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because I feel like There have been weeks where the Lions have looked really, really good offensively, or at least defensively, holding certain teams to a certain amount of points. And I would assume that this week,
Really,
like,
honestly, barring I think one game, they've played hard every week. So
the only really bad game has been against the Bengals, which is understandable because Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow is like one of the best looking passer receiving duos I've seen this year.
right,
But
like I said, they've lost some close games. I mean, the Minnesota game was a heartbreaking last second field goal. I mean, yeah, that's on
even
the
if they broke a
defense because
record,
I mean, obviously, yeah, they the defense could have held up, but they gave up a quick drive to get the last second field goal. The Ravens game should have won that. Took a NFL record field goal to win. Look,
yeah.
I mean, really, you guys played the Rams about as good as anybody could.
And then it did a bunch of trick plays that I didn't even expect them to pull out, and we
Yeah,
actually succeeded on both of them. I think.
I think you guys
Um,
play hard. Again, if you can keep if you can keep
if we can have Hurts have a bad week,
right,
have
if
a
you
bad
can
day.
if you can keep Hurts in the pocket and make him throw for the most part. I mean, you're not going to completely stop him from running at all. Obviously, that's not going to happen.
Something's gonna happen eventually.
But if you for the most part contain that element of his game and keep him in the pocket, he's not a very good pocket passing quarterback. It'll expose him. He'll turn the ball over. He'll force throws, and Lions win the game to get their first win of the season. That's my call.
I say low 20s game too. Like I mean, depending on the Lions can score. Both teams can score relatively. So
If you
depending on
want,
the
if
defense.
you want to score prediction, um, 23-17 Lions. Philly's trying to drive in the last minute or so to try to get the last touchdown to win the game, and yeah, I'll hold them. There's my prediction. If I'm absolutely correct, I am a magician.
I probably
Uh,
go right that same range, like 27-21 probably Lions.
okay, next up, we have the extremely hot, surprisingly, especially after that loss to the Jets, but Titans have roared back
Mm.
and have played two extremely good games, sitting at 5-2 in first place against the Colts.
Also kind of looked a little bit better.
Colts are playing better. Yes, they are. Colts are playing much better, and you know what? Other than one really terrible throw, I don't know what Wentz was thinking there, but the weather, who knows?
Yeah,
It could have.
the lob pass right to the defender.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's on Wentz, but then again, you don't know. Could have been, the weather, the wet ball, whatever it is. I mean, really, Wentz has only thrown through 7 games. Wentz has thrown 2 interceptions, unless my information is incorrect. So he's played well. The offensive line's been good. So they're getting surprising receiving output, even though I know Paris Campbell's down now, and
Taylor's having a strong year as well.
Taylor's looking great. I think T.Y.'s hurt again,
I think he's out this week, yeah.
but if they can, Mo Ali Cox is a red zone nightmare. I think he's like the 2021 Jonnu Smith because get in the red zone, throw it to Mo Ali Cox. That's a touchdown for you.
Hey,
Defense is playing well, but I mean the Titans are rolling. Tannehill's looking better. The receivers seem to be healthy. AJ Brown, so much for a snap count because AJ Brown looked great. Julio, I think, should be back. Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry. I mean, the man is a monster, MVP candidate. Even
he's gonna
he
get them
threw
yards
he
regardless.
threw he threw a touchdown last week, or a couple days, 2 days ago.
Yep.
Man, you know what?
Mm.
I'm going to pick the quote unquote upset. I'm going to say the Colts win.
I'm thinking that.
Yeah, I'm going to say Colts win.
It's going to be a really close game, and plus the Titans' defense has looked a lot stronger. Like Landry and Simmons, like a lot of these guys are starting to their pass rush is starting to really show itself off. But it was just looking really, really good. Wentz really, like I said, he hasn't really made that many mistakes, and they can hold off on a mild explosion or the big explosion that is Derrick Henry. They could probably win this game.
The thing will be the key to this is going to be the Titans' front seven. If they can contain Taylor, the Colts won't be able to do much. So if that happens, Titans win this game. But I say Colts win. I say Colts win 24-21.
Field goal separation.
Yeah.
I see that. This is basically pretty much the running back, the battle of the running backs. Whoever gets the least amount of yards.
I'm gonna prognosticate. I'm gonna say 24-21. Titans have the ball driving to tie the game, and Tannehill throws a pick to end it. There you go. Calling that. Okay, next up, the red hot looking chef's kiss good Cincinnati Bengals in first place in the AFC North against the lowly Jets with no Zach Wilson and presumably Joe Flacco is the starting quarterback.
Probably Joe Flacco is starting quarterback. Yes.
Presumably.
Yeah. It could be White. Who knows?
It could be. I mean, Flacco knows the offense. He was traded on Monday, yesterday. So, I mean, could he catch on and start? Yeah. I'd probably say White starts, but if he's asked early, Flacco will play. That's what I'm seeing. Flacco's going to probably play if he doesn't start. Bengals win. I mean, look, the Jets beat the Titans, and we never saw it coming. That was Zach Wilson, though, and really good defensive performance, and the Titans played terribly. I don't see that with the Bengals here. I do see a little bit. I do see some fight in the Jets, though. I'm not seeing a blowout, but the Bengals win.
I'm thinking the way Chase and Burrow's connection has been, like I said earlier, I feel like the Jets could probably be in for a really long day for the air. Really, that's not really they're offensively they're probably gonna get a few scores offensively, just like off some gimmies, but defensively they're gonna have one of the rougher weeks that they've ever had.
Well, I think as hot as the Bengals have been and coming off that big win, I'm gonna. It's a pseudo trap game. I'm not saying the Jets are gonna win at all. Bengals win this game, but I'm gonna call it a trap game in the sense that the Jets are gonna give them more than they think, and they're gonna play down a slight bit to the Jets. Bengals win the game, but do not blow them out.
Plus, they're coming in riding high too, so I mean that's like the perfect time to kind of catch them water, at least expecting it.
I think Bengals probably win by double digits, but not like an extreme blowout. No. But they win.
I think like 14-30, probably. 14-30, something like
I'm going to say something like 30-17, 31-17. It'll be more respectable than you think. It's not going to be like an annihilation. The Jets will play respectable.
Be a gentleman's loss.
Yeah, sure. You want to call it that. Next, we have the 6-1 Rams at the 1-6 Texans. Yowzer. Rams 14.5 point favorite.
Yeah, I don't think it's really much of a debate about this one.
I mean, no. I mean,
unless Davis Mills just turns into the spawn of Watson on the field, at least.
Well, when is Tyrod supposed to be back?
Adam, he's been out since like week 1 or week 2.
So I mean, if there's a chance that Tyrod could be back, I don't think he is. But see, that's the problem because even at times Davis Mills has looked competent when other times he hasn't. I mean, look, the team is bad. I'm not putting it all on him. I'm not saying, look, I'm not putting it all on the kid, but
Tyrod is practicing, so there is a chance.
Yeah, and Cully did say they were when he's healthy starting.
If he has another good week of if he has another good week of practice, then we could definitely probably see Tyrod this week.
Well, right, but I don't think Tyrod's been officially activated yet. But
yeah,
assuming let's just assume they do, and Tyrod starts. They won't be completely awful, but barring just an absolute meltdown, and that meltdown would be like Stafford just,
yeah,
Stafford throwing ducks or just Stafford just it's basically barring Stafford having just like a god awful game. I don't see how the Rams lose this game.
Or like say Stafford's having a good day and then Cooper Kupp's hands just don't work that night. Like I feel like that's like the only way.
Well, I think they've got Woods and Van and Higbee and the running backs. I just don't see how the Texans are going to put up too much. Maybe at first they could put up a bit of a fight, but like I said, barring Stafford just being completely off and throwing 3 or 4 interceptions, the Rams win. I don't see them losing at all.
Yeah, I feel like defensively, there's at least going to be.
If Tyrod plays, it won't be a blowout.
It's Mills, then.
Man's in for some punishment. That's all I'll say about that.
He's in for a lot.
Yeah, he's in for some punishment. Okay. Next up, we have Patriots 3-4 at 4-2 Chargers coming off a bye.
This is interesting because Mac hasn't been playing bad.
Patriots. Well, I mean, it was the Jets, mind you.
Yeah.
Max is a solid quarterback. I just don't think they have enough weapons on offense. Their receiver play is sketchy at best.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't unless they go get one before this weekend, which they won't. Coming off the bye, Chargers defense is solid. Patriots will have trouble moving the ball, probably most likely. Mac will turn the ball over. Herbert will not. Chargers win.
Everybody's the same. Chargers
24-13.
You don't think Herbert goes stupid?
They'll coast. That's it. Patriots defense is. I mean, I know the Patriots have a couple injuries, but the Patriots defense is still.
It's still presentable.
They're still fairly solid. They'll coast 24-13. Chargers win though, no question. I don't have a doubt in my mind.
Chargers dub.
Yeah. Okay. We have the 1-5 Jaguars at the 2-5 Seahawks. This ought to be interesting.
Could be a week for Trevor Lawrence.
It could be.
Like reasonably with the way the Seahawks have been looking, and then plus Geno Smith kind of being
just
the de facto reason why they lose.
I mean, Geno is a jag at this point. But I mean, look, their offensive line isn't run blocking. Their defense has not been good. So I mean, look, can I pin this all on Geno? No. Their offensive line has not been good in either facet of the game. So they're not pass blocking very well. They're not run blocking much at all.
Uh,
Their defense has not been good. They were okay. They were all right last night, but
they got the deep ball.
Kamara torched them.
Yeah.
Kamara torched them. This honestly, this is a tougher one to call than I think because Trevor Lawrence could, or the Jags they're a bad team.
I see the Jags pulling out something though. Like this week seems like at least not if not pulling it out, they could definitely like make
Yeah,
it like a scare for the
it'll be a
Seahawks.
close game, but I'm I'm Seahawks winning. This one's gonna be like
You know,
terrible. It's gonna be terrible. That game's gonna be terrible. Probably. I don't see much excitement at all. But I'm gonna give it. I'll say Seahawks win. A very ugly, boring game.
but you
Okay.
know, hypothetically speaking, the Seahawks could go crazy, but I'm gonna go Jags. Yeah. Jags.
I don't think they go crazy, but they could have, because the Jaguars are so bad, they could actually look like a real football team because the Jags are bad.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we have my beloved and painfully disappointing Washington football team at 2-5 against the 3-4 Broncos.
Another week where things could turn around. Well, team probably has they have an even. I feel like they have a more even matchup with the Broncos this week.
Yeah. I mean, Teddy's a good quarterback. I'm not saying he's not. He doesn't have a hell of an arm. It doesn't mean he won't. It doesn't mean he can't try. But
Also, Judy comes back this week, I believe.
what?
I believe Judy comes back this week.
Ooh. I'm going to sound homer, but Washington. Washington. Ugly game. Not again. Another ugly game. Not a lot of points. But Washington wins.
I'd probably agree because I feel like it's a little bit more balanced this week. Even though Judy's coming back, football team. I feel like their defense pulls it together this week. Really go at home.
They're okay against the run. So if it comes down to Teddy throwing, like Dinkin and Duncan, I think we can handle that. And like I said, if we can play better, I mean, we did not play bad. We did not play bad football against the Packers. We missed a field goal, and then in two other red zone trips, we literally got to 4th and goal from the 2 and the 1, and decided not to take the points and go for it and failed. So, you turn that around, you win the game. I see one touchdown and some field goals. Basically, not a lot of high flying, not a lot of action. Kind of boring, ugly game. 19-13 Washington.
Yeah. See that.
Broncos are decimated on defense. I mean, 8 hurt linebackers, 6 on IR. They had to trade for 2 just to get guys on the field. So Washington could move the ball on them, but I don't see necessarily like up and down the field touchdowns. I see field goals, but a touchdown, 19-13 Washington. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay. 6-1 Buccaneers at 4-2 Saints. Saints got a win at Seattle. Wasn't pretty. Defense looked. I did again, like I said. They got some defensive starters back. Their defense is solid. But Jameis Winston is still the quarterback, and without Alvin Kamara, they don't win yesterday. I mean, look, Winston threw for roughly 200 yards, and I think 128 of that was Kamara. So,
Yeah.
I understand Tampa's defense can give up some yards and some points, but this is Jameis. Probably, I say Tampa. I say Tampa 31-21, but some of that 21 comes late.
Yeah, I definitely see Tampa winning this game.
Yeah.
First, it could make it interesting because usually the Bucks do randomly struggle against the Saints
They
for.
can give up some yardage. They're definitely a little weak in the secondary, but the Saints don't really have any receivers. So
Yeah.
if they can limit Kamara, like I said, I think right now Brady's and that offense is unstoppable. I would assume either Gronk or Antonio Brown or both are back. There's no way the Saints are stopping all of that. 31-21 Buccaneers, and some of that
Bucks over.
21 comes late. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we got the Sunday night game. 5-1 Cowboys at 3-3 Vikings.
Cowboys looking pretty good. Vikings also.
Cowboys defense is respectable. Cowboys offense looks good, however.
Yep.
Dak's got the hurt calf, and he's absolutely going to be limited in his mobility. They probably won't have Gallup back this week, but he is practicing. I still think he's going to miss another game.
Yeah.
Then he'll be fully back. But Minnesota's defenses look better than advertised. I'm not saying they're tremendous, but they're better than advertised. Cowboys, I see the Minnesota's weaponry. You know, they could put Diggs on Jefferson. I don't think he's going to lock him up all day. And even if he locks him up mostly, that you still got Dalvin Cook, you got Conklin, you got other weapons, you got Thielen. Who's going to cover Thielen? Plus the home game, the Vikings have been playing much better. I say Vikings win this game.
Yeah, I was thinking Cowboys, even though Dak was a little bit hobbled, but
another close game, but Minnesota wins. Yeah,
I like that.
And last but not least, Monday night. Oh boy, we have the 2-5 and quite frankly terrible New York Football Giants at the reeling Kansas City Chiefs.
Daniel Jones is a good day. Jones is a good day.
Chiefs look like a competent football team. The Giants have no answer. Chiefs offense looks like it normally should. Chiefs win.
I'm gonna play the opposite side. I'm gonna just because obviously
Really?
the Chiefs. Yeah, mainly because like the Chiefs defense has really looked out of sorts, and the Giants do have one of the worst records in team construction for the most part. Their offense can sometimes look decent enough to get some scores. In the way that Chiefs defense is looking, they can give up at least a couple scores. I feel like they give up at least 3 scores. Probably a Chiefs win, but it doesn't look as ugly as it should.
Really? I don't know. I don't like that.
I would be surprised if the Giants got the dub, but vice versa. I would be surprised if the Chiefs got the dub, but Giants
that's bold. That's pretty bold. All right, so we've got through all that. Do you want to throw in a? Let's yeah, why not? Let's end on on this. We both play daily fantasy, FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever your choice may be for our audience. How about this? Let's give a fantasy. Let's give a daily fantasy lock for points this week.
By position, pretty much.
Just one player that you're gonna you would likely pick for your fantasy, your FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever. That you're saying is a lock for big points. And not necessarily like I don't mean pick Patrick Mahomes or something like that. I mean,
yeah,
go a little down and pick somebody.
Yeah, because like off rip, I was gonna think like potentially like a Kyler Murray just because of the matchup, but anything I'd probably say Jonathan Taylor seems like he'd be a solid guy to probably win some bread. Tennessee, even though the first half is starting to look a little bit better, Taylor can do a variety of things, running and catching. Chances of him having another big game are very, very high in my opinion. So I would definitely take him for one of my teams this week.
Okay. I'm going to stay. Let me think here for a second. I'm going to say. Wow. I'm running through the matchups in my head here. I'm going to say. I mean, I know. All right, I know he's done it once, but I know he's done it once already, but he's a little iffy, and I know they have a lot of weapons. Dawson Knox. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He'll probably be fairly cheap, and I could see it. I could see a maybe not a lot of catches necessarily, but I'm seeing like a 2-touchdown day out of him. Yeah.
I don't know. I can see Knox having a solid day.
I think about a Kyler. I could think about like someone like a Christian Kirk or somebody in that Arizona game, but it's because it's Thursday night. You can't pick it for the weekend. It's a standalone.
Yeah,
that would have been a tempting pick, or like an AJ Dillon, because they're going to be iffy at receiver. Tanya shows up and then not. So it could be a lot of receiving yards and receptions from Jones and Dillon. That could have been a nice play, but because it's the Thursday night game, no.
Yeah.
So okay. Any last words before we end the show tonight?
I thought one more thing. Even though this is obviously like a very obvious one, just because of the matchup that they have.
Sure.
Burrow and Chase, respectively. If anybody starts them this week. If you don't have success, then it might as well have just been like a guaranteed like trap game. But if you want to just take the risk and be like, well, the Jets are the Jets, start both of them. And I feel like that would be also a very successful.
Well, I will play the devil's advocate here, and I will say it will not happen. Bengals will score their points, but Jamar Chase will not go stupid. Nope.
Wait and see.
Yeah, we will. All right. So I think that's all for us for this week.
Yeah.
Thank you again to everybody who follows or who will follow and who listens to this. We appreciate you all very much. Put a lot of hard work and effort into this, and We hope you enjoy. We hope you listen. We hope you hit that follow button. We hope you continue to listen. With that being said, everybody stay blessed. Have a good night, and we will see you next week.